Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Tony and you're watching the Every Blade of Grass channel. On the upgrade video that we're going to watch today, there won't be any adding on of parts or anything like that. It's pretty much just an outline. So I hope you guys enjoy it and stay tuned for some of the upgrades that we will be doing on future videos. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, what's going on? What you see before you is my AK-47 that is almost completely disassembled. I do have the lower handguard on there. The reason that I've got it disassembled and the reason you see maybe some parts that are a little bit unfamiliar is I am going to do some upgrades, and I thought I'd bring you guys along with me and explain some of the reasons why I'm doing that. So overall, and for the most part, I'm not going to be changing out the trigger. I'm not going to be doing things other than maybe polishing them up a little bit just so that they get a little bit smoother. I think I do need to polish the inside rails here and to give it again a little bit smoother feel, and we'll do that here a little bit later on in the project. But again, I just wanted to have some things that make the rifle a little bit more ergonomic and that would give me a little bit more adaptability, I guess, as far as adjustments on things like length of pull with the stock. So since we mentioned that, let's go ahead and talk about that. This is a what would typically go on an AR-15. It's kind of a SOP mod type of stock. This one is made by TI7. I actually got this on sale from Damage Industries, and at the time it was $20. So I couldn't pass it up. One neat thing I kind of discovered about this is it does have a couple of little storage tubes here, and this is a cleaning kit, the original AK cleaning kit, and it does fit in there. I am going to need to sort of mod something up to where I can maybe put a little string or something on there where I can be able to pull it out pretty easy. But I thought that was kind of cool, so I'll be able to keep my cleaning kit. So again, getting back to this, well, how do I get this stock onto an AK pattern rifle? They make, or there's a couple companies that make stock adapters, and they're generally called like an M4 stock adapter. This one was made by, I believe, Definitive Arms, and pretty much all it is, it's an adapter that will go into the back of the receiver, and it has a threaded piece that allows you to screw on a receiver extension tube from an AR-15, which then, and it's mil-spec by the way, and you have a castle nut and an end plate. And what that allows you to do then is to pretty much use any stock that would go onto an AR-15. When I originally bought the rifle, it came with basically Tapco furniture, which a lot of them did back in the day, just because you had to do, I think it's a R922 or something compliance, something like that. Anyway, that has to do with the amount of American-made parts that you would have to have on the rifle, if any parts of the rifle that are, if they're being imported from someplace other than the United States. So, one of the things that I am going to change is the pistol grip. I'm going over to the Magpul. I think I've got the original box here, the AK Plus grip. And it is a little bit more of kind of a rubbery texture. I actually kind of like it quite a bit. I like the angle of it and everything. Once we get that on the rifle, we'll kind of see long term how that does. Most of the stuff too that I will be doing to the rifle is all very, very simple. Pretty much you're just kind of swapping out parts. I'm not going to put in a new trigger. I'm just going to go with the stock. This is a Tapco G2 trigger. There is nothing special about it, just kind of the normal stuff. One thing that I did do, which was kind of I guess maybe more of an aesthetic choice, was I did the cheese grater that goes over on the gas tube here. And the only thing that I had to do, I did have to modify it slightly, in that I had to grind down the edges here a little bit because when I originally had put it on the gas tube and then put it back on, it was too proud and it stood up too high, and it would not allow you to get a proper lockdown on there, so that you could never quite close this here. Whoops. You couldn't rotate and close this lever to be able to keep that on. And that is one thing that if you are doing stuff like that, like this, excuse me, that you may have to do. You may have to do a little bit of modifications. I think I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if I did or not, but here where your trigger and your hammer pins are located, which are these guys here. And where's the old shepherd's hook type thing? So this was a little bit of an improvement on the shepherd's hook back in the day when I first bought mine. However, it is still not very good. I had mentioned before that there was, I think I'd mentioned before, that there was no side ability to mount an optic on there. There was no side mount on there. And what I bought was, and I got this from AK Operators Union from their store, I got the master mount, which was in steel. They originally had one that was in aluminum, but I don't think it was as robust as they would have liked it to have been. So they went ahead and made one that was steel. And the way that it works is your hammer and trigger pins are replaced with these guys here, and they screw in. You can put a little bit of Loctite on those to make sure that they stay in place. And these pins will go in. Oh, I can't do it with that on there. So give me a second here. So these pins go in and they replace your original pins, and because they screw in on the other side and you'll have them Loctited down, you do not need anything like a shepherd's hook or a, I think Krebs custom makes like a little bracket that will go in and keep your pins from falling out or from backing out. And everything I've heard about the master mount is pretty good. Once you go with like an RS Regulate type mount, which is actually going to hold your optic up above the dust cover, which is this guy here, on the rifle, it allows you to retain zero pretty well. So that's pretty much some of the upgrades that I'm going to be doing.